Many people have proudly worked for this today, but we will be sharing everything as we go. So my name is Evgenia, or Jenny Regolin, and I will be the moderator of this debate. This debate is an initiative organized and put forth by the class of the Animal Psychology course of the BPS program and their instructor and Professor Lucia Regolin. If I may, yes. So if I may, before we get started, on behalf of everyone involved, I would like to thank the Department of General Psychology and the head of the department, 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗁, for hosting this event and giving space to this discussion. And on behalf of the head of the department, who couldn't be here with us today, Professor 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗁 would like to say a few words. Professor 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗁 is in charge of the educational committee of the Department of General Psychology and also a referent for the Socratic Debates project. So I would like to call him to the stand to share a few words before we proceed.
Okay, thank you.
As you prefer, here or there.
Okay.
Do we have this
Thanks.
on?
Hello? Can you hear me? No?
Let's see. No?
Okay, yeah,
All right.
yeah, thank you. So, thank you. I'm not anymore in charge of the educational part of the department. Since, don't worry, since a couple of months, so it's very recent. But anyway, good evening everyone, and it's a great pleasure and an honor to be here today. And for this edition of the PsychoDebates, this time we will focus on animal testing and on the ethical dilemmas surrounding the opportunity to save human lives on one hand versus the moral implications of causing suffering to sentient creatures. And I'm confident that these debates will generate profound reflections and compelling arguments from both sides. And this year, the PsychoDebates are part of a broader educational initiative aimed at enhancing students' soft skills, particularly their ability to engage critically and thoughtfully with challenging and provocative topics such as the one we have today. And since its inception in 2022, the PsychoDebates have become a valued tradition in our department, and today we are proud to celebrate the 7th edition. And last but not least, it has been already said, but I would like to convey the greetings of the department director, Professor Francesca Bazzaglia, who unfortunately cannot be with us today. So, thank you. And
we would like to also call Professor Cristiana Grillo, the head of the BPS program, to also say a few words.
It's not necessary, thanks. So I am very happy to be here, and thanks the organizer to have invited me. I'm very happy for this opportunity because I understand that, of course, it's a very hot topic. If you remember also in my course, very often when we talk about brain behavior, we have noticed that most of the discoveries has been made with animals, synapses, neurons, and so this is important to be specified. So we needed to understand this issue, pros and cons, and see whether we can agree on the main advantage and disadvantage. So I like the idea to discuss about this, but I'd also like the idea that it's important to learn how to have a debate. So I think it's very educative, and this is probably more common, I don't know, maybe at other international university. Here we are learning more and more to do something like that. I do want in the future to continue to have these opportunities here at BPS or in General School of Psychology. And so I do want to thank again Lucia Regolin and other professors, other collaborators that are continuing this idea. So I think this is a great opportunity for us. Probably you will remember more moments like this than other part of the BPS school, because these are very, let's say, outstanding moments in our three years program, okay? Nothing more. So good continuation. Enjoy.
Says the motion, and I feel like I have to mention that we could say that it is one of the few times that such a topic is brought to the public, and I am very particularly happy as it shows how 𝗕𝗵𝗻 is an institution researching scientific processes, trusting in students to carry out academic projects such as this, and embracing the idea of debating on all sorts of topics. I know that a lot of people might consider the topic a taboo or even just a redundant discussion, but I think that for this reason, it would be very important to also remind everyone that no matter the topic, this is still an academic activity, and none of the arguments, ideas, and opinions put forth necessarily represent those of the speakers delivering them here today. Whole teams of a lot of people have worked on each of the arguments, and then the final speeches were randomly assigned to the 8 brave speakers we'll see today. So they will certainly enrich our knowledge. What we learn may or may not cause a shift in our stance on things, but please remember that the speeches are not delivered by experts. All of these speakers are students of the Psychological Science undergraduate program. So we're ready to start the debate shortly, but before we do so, I will take 2 minutes to briefly walk you through the format of the whole process of our debate. But while I do that, I would like to get everyone on WooClub. What do we have back there? Okay. But both people here and in the audience and also people online. So our motion today is animal testing should be banned. So we want your first thoughts. Get on the poll page on wooclub.com. As you can see, I don't think this is scannable from where you are, but you can use the code, which is DebatePsy, DebatePsy. So just give us your first thoughts on the motion. Let's see what the first idea in the room is. And then in the end, we are having a final voting session as well, and we are going to see how things have shifted or not. So while you do this, I'll walk you through the format. So each team has 4 speakers who will take turns to deliver the arguments. Each speaker will have 2 minutes, and then I will keep everyone on the clock. So dear teams, just mind that. And try to stay within time so that we can stay on schedule. And after all arguments have been delivered, we will accept a couple of interventions, also from the audience, and then we will resume the debate with the final stage of the rebuttal, which I will explain when we get to it. So before we begin, we could take a glance. Let's see, shall we give, I think it's good to see, right? Yep. So how many people have we? So we're still receiving votes. So we see 92 people have voted already, and most of them disagree or they're not sure. That's what we see, that's the picture now for the majority. All right, and then we will compare when we have the other voting session in the end. So, speakers, are we ready to start? Fantastic. So, we will start with the proposition. So, for the opening arguments of the proposition team, please welcome to the stand 𝗕𝗓𝗀𝗃, who will be talking for the scientific unreliability and institutional inertia.
Good evening and welcome everybody. My point here today is for the proposition, and it's that animal testing should be animal testing is an indefensible practice that should be replaced. Now, I want to start with an intriguing question. Did you know that 92% of the drugs that passed animal tests have failed in human clinical trials? You heard me right, 92%. And now, I just want you to imagine the wasted amount of resources, money, efforts, and most importantly, animals' lives. And this shocking failure rate just highlights the inherent flaws of this practice. So, how can we continue to rely on a system that so often fails to deliver? Now, let's continue with a very well-known example. So there was a drug called thalidomide, and it was marketed as a sedative and a treatment for morning sickness. It was widely used in Europe until it was discovered that it caused severe birth defects and fetal deaths in over 10,000 infants. And you may find it surprising, or perhaps not, but the thalidomide had passed the animal tests. And unfortunately, this incident is not an isolated one, but rather one of many more. And let's not forget that, as we all know, human diseases are not that simple, and they're influenced by intricate biological, environmental, and genetic factors that animal models fail to replicate. So decades of using animals, and for what? Where are the cures and the treatments that we can actually trust? So, this sobering reality forces us to question the validity of animal testing as a scientific practice. And then why do we still persist this practice? The persistence of animal testing is not rooted in scientific merit, but more so in resistance to change and regulatory inertia, which is the tendency for the organizations that to continue using existing practices, even just because they're what people are used to. deeply embedded norms in the system and laws about safety standards and regulations, and also the massive investments that are already made already made for animal facilities play a big part in all of this. But just because something is difficult to change doesn't mean it's not worth changing. In conclusion, the evidence against animal testing is very overwhelming. First of all, it is scientifically unreliable, as evidenced by high drug failure rates. Second of all, it is outdated, persisting just because institutions refuse to evolve. And lastly, it is unnecessary because the modern world has already found other solutions. So, everyone, the time has come to move beyond animal testing. By investing in more innovative, human-focused research, we can advance science and save lives. It's our choice. Thank you for listening.
The first one you hear is at 2:30, so that they know that they have 30 minutes to wrap up their speech. 30 seconds, sorry. Yes, that's a long time. So, the next speaker will be talking on medical advancements. So, for the opening arguments of the opposition, please welcome to the stand, 𝗕𝗵cie𝗂𝗶𝗵.
How do I turn it on? Okay. Good afternoon. Some say it's a crime. Others say it's the reason we are not still using trepanation to cure headaches. Our side strongly advises that banning animal testing is premature and could jeopardize medical progress, patient safety, and our ability to develop life-saving treatments. Here's why. First of all, although innovative non-animal techniques offer exciting new avenues for research, they cannot replicate the complexity of living organisms. My colleague will deepen this issue later, but for example, organizations like the Cancer Research Italian Association or the European Animal Research Association stress the importance of animal testing, especially in oncology, where studying whole body effects is essential. The 98% genetic similarity between human and mice underscores the relevance of animal models in studying pathologies. Some notable examples from history are the tuberculosis vaccine or the 1921 Nobel Prize-winning discovery of insulin through dog testing, which significantly improved life expectancy for diabetes patients. The usual example against animal testing is the thalidomide tragedy of the 60s. But let me actually explain to you why this case only further proves that animal testing remains essential for safeguarding human health. As a 2011 scientific paper suggests, thalidomide became a top-selling sedative and an estimated 14.6 tons were sold. Sounds fine, right? Then why were 10,000 infants harmed worldwide? Why did these infants develop birth defects such as amelia, phocomelia, and organ malformation like my colleague just mentioned? It was all due to testing on ill-suited subjects, which were not in the same conditions as the expecting mothers for whom the drug was conceived. In fact, it was only through further animal testing that the teratogenic risk of the drug became apparent, leading to stricter regulations requiring meticulous animal testing to identify such risks earlier and prevent similar tragedies to occur ever again. The Department of Health of the UK states that research on animals has contributed to nearly every advancement made in the medical field in the past century. So just imagine the impact it had, and where would we be now if we decided to ban it 100 years ago? The argument to ban animal testing often overlooks a critical and controversial reality. While the idea may seem ethical in principle, we are all directly benefiting from its life-saving advancements. A clear and recent example of this is the COVID-19 vaccine, which we all benefited from. During the pandemic, no one questioned or argued against testing vaccine on animals before administering it to humans. So now, I ask you to consider, would you have preferred to receive a vaccine tested on lab animals according to established protocols, or one tested only in vitro? How can one denounce animal testing while benefiting from its life-saving outcomes? And finally, can one truly condemn the means while celebrating the ends? Thank you for your attention.
ethical concerns, please welcome to the podium 𝗕𝗫𝗿𝗂𝗁𝗍𝗂.
Good evening, everybody. Today I stand before you to argue that animal testing is not only scientifically unreliable, but it is also ethically indefensible and emotionally damaging to both animals and humans involved. Humans are social animals, deeply motivated by love and empathy. This is so ingrained in our society that we now use the word humane to mean compassionate and kind. The word ethics itself comes from the Greek ethos, meaning character or personal disposition. It represents the rules of conduct that align with our innate compassion. Our empathy extends beyond our species, as evidenced by our beloved pets and by the millions of heartwarming animal videos online. Now I would like you to raise your hands if you have liked a cute animal video online in the past week. So a lot of you, okay, thank you. Have you ever noticed how just spotting a dog or a cat on your way to work or to class instantly brightens your day? Well, animals, like humans, experience a range of emotions. They feel grief and joy, pleasure and pain, safety and fear. My point here for the proposition is that lab animals are no different. What would you do if a friend of yours was trapped in a room with no way out? Would you help them? Well, rats would. Studies showed that rats will work to free a trapped companion, even forsaking a food reward to do so. Furthermore, animal testing, the emotional toll of animal testing expands even to the humans involved. This is because, sorry, I'm a little not. Okay, let me start again. The emotional toll of animal testing expands to the humans involved. In fact, the majority of animal laboratory researchers and technicians risk encountering compassion fatigue, which is a condition that is characterized by emotional, physical, and psychological exhaustion from exposure to other suffering. Now, imagine dedicating your career into improving human health just to be carried out, just to be plagued by the pain you have caused. This moral strain is what puts researchers into battling burnout, moral discomfort, and even a weakening sense of purpose. But this is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign that animal testing fundamentally conflicts with our ethical nature. In conclusion, animal testing is a harmful, outdated practice that conflicts with our ethical values. It hinders both scientific progress as well as human health, and is ultimately a counterproductive practice. So we should move towards more humane, human-relevant research alternatives, because the future of science demands it. Thank you for listening.
I would just like to remind everyone that all of our speakers have to remember their speeches, remember where to stand so that the video is done correctly. It's a lot of work. So one more round of applause for all the speakers. So moving on with the opposition, the next arguments will be on veterinary drugs and non-invasive procedures. So please welcome to the podium 𝗕𝗫𝗿𝗂𝗁𝗍𝗂.
Testing. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand here before you today to argue about animal testing and that it must be continued. I will talk about the critical role of vet medicine and of the non-invasive testings. First of all, animal testing is paramount for the development of veterinary medicine. Dogs, cats, and other animals suffer various diseases such as cancers, heart diseases, diabetes, and joint of problems. Without animal research, we wouldn't be able to develop new, safe, and effective veterinary medicine to improve the health and welfare of animals. Consider this. Many of the treatments we use to treat our beloved pets today are the results of carefully conducted animal studies. These studies have led to breakthroughs in understanding diseases and developing vaccines and treated therapies for animals. For example, in the 1970s, the canine parvovirus outbreak was a catastrophe for many dogs of the world. Researchers used laboratory animals to develop a vaccine that will later treat these animals and protect them from future diseases. Should we let our own pets die from something curable due to the ignorance of this viral behavior? Also, it's crucial to understand that not all animal testing is invasive. There's the behavioral non-invasive testing of animals, which gives us insight but also improves cognition and understanding of animal welfare. Studying animal behavior and physiology helps us better understand and care for animals in various settings, from farms to households. So we can look for stock animals, whose living conditions represent a major welfare concern due to their significant population and role in the global food supply. Due to the importance of animals' contributions, including developing safe vaccines and treatments that prevent outbreak diseases in stock animals, we give them a better housing, better handling and enrichment practices, and an overall better life. So, in conclusion, is this what our opposition is fighting for? Animal testing remains a crucial component for scientific research, particularly vet medicine. As we move forward, we must balance the scientific progress and the ethical guidelines to create and to strive for more animal welfare while advancing our understanding of the animal world. And finally, let's take a step back. Let's reflect on what this debate is about. Is this debate about improving conditions of testing animals that we already are improving and continuing to do? No. Let's be clear, this debate is about abandoning animal testing. So we know the answer is clear. We cannot afford to stop. This is important for both humans and animals' lives, and we depend on the progress made possible through animal testing. I thank you all.
Our next speaker will be sharing some arguments on wastefulness and public opinion. For the proposition team, please welcome Tanja Levinson.
Hello all. And actually, my colleague just mentioned that we are only talking about stopping animal research, but we are not. I'd like to point your attention to the fact that an enormous amount of resources is being wasted while doing animal research, and that the European Union public is overwhelmingly against that. There is a huge hidden waste in animal research. Imagine conducting an experiment, meticulously planning every detail, only for the results to be tucked away in a drawer, never to be used or seen. Well, this is exactly what happens for up to 87% of animal research. It's never published sometimes, and the research published sometimes lacks statistical power. And what about the publication bias? Only about 60% of animal studies ever get published. Of those, for every 1,000 compounds that show promise in animal research, only one actually becomes an approved drug. It's not just money we're talking about in this case, it's literally lives. Countless animals are bred, used, and euthanized for experiments that contribute nothing to scientific knowledge. This isn't just inefficient, it's a colossal waste of animal lives for minimal human benefit. Just to give you an idea of the scale of waste, in Europe alone, 9.3 million experiments were conducted on animals in 2022, and additional 9.6 millions of animals, were bred and killed but not used in experiments. Recent surveys have shown a strong preference among the EU citizens for alternatives to animal testing and a high level of concern about the current practices. The latest Eurobarometer survey revealed overwhelming support for stronger animal welfare legislation. Up to over 90% of respondents think animal welfare is important and should be better protected. In another survey, 73% of respondents had major concerns about using animals in scientific research, testing and education, and agreed that the EU should define deadlines for eliminating the testing. This waste is not just unethical, it's scientifically and economically unsound. We need a paradigm shift in how we approach biomedical research. 1. Strict requirements for study design and reporting. 2. Mandatory publication of all the results, even positive and negative. 3. Greater investment in human-relevant, non-animal methods. It's time to redirect our resources towards more efficient, ethical, and human-relevant research methods. The lives of animals, the advancement of human health, and the EU opinion all point to the same direction, to a future where animal testing is replaced by more effective and humane alternatives. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker will be talking about how pain is minimized and welfare is prioritized. So for the opposition team, please welcome to the stand, 𝗕𝗂𝗿𝗲.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we face a critical challenge. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we face a critical challenge, balancing scientific progress with ethical responsibility. The debate on animal testing is not just scientific, but deeply moral, asking us to reconcile our pursuit of knowledge with the duty to protect the vulnerable. Animal research plays a crucial role in advancing medicine and science, but we must actively strive to control it. The 3 R's principles, replacement, reduction, and refinement, guide this effort, minimizing harm and maximizing the benefit of animals, with alternatives where possible. The European Union Directive No. 63 from 2010 is among the most strict frameworks for animal research globally. It promotes alternative methods and sets high standards for animal care. Importantly, procedures causing severe pain or harm are generally forbidden, and even mild discomfort must be justified and authorized. Did you know that in 2022, 51% of procedures in the EU cause mild or no suffering at all? Contrary to public perception, most laboratory studies prioritize animal welfare and involve minimal pain. Scientists and laboratory staff undergo extensive training in humane handling and stress management. So, the main takeaway from this ethical principle is that animal welfare and treatment are put at the forefront of any scientific research. But now, let's also consider other perspectives, and let me ask, how many of you here are vegetarians? Because while we debate the treatment of 9.3 million lab animals each year, let's not overlook an harsher reality. Over 10 billion farm animals are slaughtered annually in the EU, often enduring far worse conditions. In fact, did you know that if humans were killed at the same rate we kill animals to eat, we would be extinct in only 17 days? So, as we think about animal welfare, isn't it time we look at the bigger picture too? To put it simply, we are here to debate about the suffering of one lab animal, while we would probably do a better service to the animals and to our society if we debated about the suffering of 1,000 farmed animals. To conclude, I want to say that this debate is not about whether we use animals in research, but how we can do so responsibly, with care and respect. While we work toward alternatives, our goal must be to conduct research ethically, minimizing harm and maximizing benefit for society. Thank you.
For the closing arguments of the proposition team, the next speaker will be sharing their views on alternatives to animal testing. Please welcome to the stand, 𝗕𝗵ici𝗂𝗍𝗶.
So we have heard compelling arguments from both sides. You just have heard about how animal testing can be conducted ethically. But what my team decided to show is that usually, and a lot of the times, it is scientifically unreliable, poses ethical concerns, and quite wasteful. And the alternatives that are revolutionizing medical research already are far better at all of those points, and I'm going to show you how. So the first technology that I want to talk to you about is organs on chips. This is a model, size of a USB stick, very little, that is aiming to recreate a human tissue of a real organ with its function and its structure. And it helps us to mimic the structure and usually provides very accurate model for the biological processes happening in our bodies. If we go even further, there is 3D bioprinting. We can not only create a little bit of a tissue, but a rather big one, almost making it possible to print the full organ, which makes it a very relevant platform for drug testing and disease research. Another alternative would be to simply use our computers that are getting so good these days. In silico modeling provides us with advanced simulations that can very well predict drug responses in humans. They accurately predicted heart arrhythmias, which is a very common reason for drugs to test clinical trials. And this is not something theoretical. Those advances are happening already, and they're very relevant. The FDA has approved drugs based on data from organs on chips technology. Given that there are so many alternatives that are already proven to be very relevant, since they are made on human cells, they are more directly applicable to human physiology. They have shown also higher efficiency. They're usually conducted faster. They are also more cost effective since they don't require us breeding and keeping so many animals. They have shown improved predictability. They have way more higher accuracy than animal tests that you have seen fail in 90% of the times. It is imperative that we change something in how we do science, that we use human cells, that we use other methods, then we shift our attention and our funds to more relevant, more effective techniques, that we retrain scientists and allocate our funds to new technologies that would be alternative to killing millions of animals every year. I hope to have convinced you that not only those new alternatives exist, but they are far better, and we have to make the change. Thank you for your attention.
Our last speaker for the event, for the closing arguments of the opposition, the next speaker will be sharing their views on limitations of novel technologies. Please welcome to the stand, Nurlana Ismailzada.
Ladies and gentlemen, as your last speaker today, I'm here to defend the crucial role of animal testing in scientific research, particularly in the light of limitations of in vitro and novel technologies. Well, don't get me wrong. These alternatives are promising, yet still incapable of fully substituting biological complexities of living organisms. While in vitro methods and organ-on-chip technologies made significant strides, they cannot fully replicate the intricate interactions within our organisms. The human body is a complex system of interconnected organs and processes that cannot be adequately simulated in isolated cell cults or in microfluidic devices. Animal models provide a comprehensive view on how drugs affect our entire organism. The holistic perspective is crucial for understanding potential side effects and long-term impact of new treatments. Animal models allow long-term studies that are essential for observing disease progression. For instance, in Parkinson's disease research, they were crucial in developing therapies for slowing human chronic symptoms. When it comes to translational potential, findings from animal studies translate more rapidly into clinical trials. The established knowledge base and regulatory framework in animal testing provide a clear path for bringing new treatments from the lab to clinic. Now, let's talk about alternative technologies. Did you know about the FDA Modernization Act that my colleague also mentioned, signed by President Biden? While allowing for alternative safety testing models, does not deny the continued importance of animal testings. Similarly, the EU Directive 63 recognizes that animals are still needed in scientific purposes. Science and societies agree that the goal is to replace animal use completely, but currently it is impossible in most research areas. 89% of scientists surveyed in 2018 favored use of animals in research. It once again proves the necessity of animal testing in research. In conclusion, the complex interactions within living organisms, ability to conduct long-term studies, and translational pathways make animal models vital for medical advancements. As we move forward, a method that utilizes both animal models and emerging technologies will be crucial for ensuring safety and efficacy of new treatments, ultimately benefiting both human and animal health. Thank you.
Fantastic. So we have carefully listened to all of the speakers, to both teams, and now it's your turn to get on that side, and the speakers will listen to you. So it's time for the interventions of the audience. We'd like to see your thoughts on the content. So we will accept a few interventions, but in the form of questions. So then the speakers, when we will have our rebuttal, comments, thank you, Lucia. In the form of comments and not questions, and the speakers that will be taking care of the rebuttal of their team may or may not address them during their summing up of all the points. So I think I need to pass this on, right? And then I will just move over there. So, okay. So we will take turns to take comments for the positions of both teams. So who would like to share comments on the points that were shared by the proposition teams? Don't be shy. All right, so I'll give you this. Pass this on to you. Just for matters of good timing, we will just keep it to 1 minute, if that's okay. So, yeah, we monitor.
I just wanted to say that the whataboutism about the what we do with our diets is one of the whataboutism in general is one of the worst logical fallacies that you can bring to a debate, and complete invalidates one's intervention. So that was a bad intervention, and that the opposition talked about how it worked in the past and it was very necessary. But I think that we should work towards a ban. It should not be now, but we can invest in technologies that can be even better than animal testing, since it cannot simulate a human testing. As we know, there's a lot of times animal testing works, but human doesn't. Lastly, behavioral testing on animals is another thing. It can be done in lab, but also in nature, so that I think should stay out of my opinion about whether or not I would ban it, because if I would consider behavioral testing, I would be against a ban on animal testing. But relating to anything else, lab testing, invasive lab testing, they said that it is useful, but
and we can be humane, but the practice can be humane, but if you kill them humanely, you still kill a lot of them.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So, sharing some criticism also on the opposition team, someone who would like to share a few comments? I don't see very well, so you help me if you see anyone. There's someone down here, right? Yeah, it's a large room.
It's okay. So, okay, what was it's so hard to be a speaker. I'm really glad that I wasn't a speaker. Okay, so what I had in my mind was that I didn't know that our... Oh my god, it's not working, is it? My voice is... Can I just talk? I will talk like this.
There you go. Great.
So I didn't know that we are not that evolved to use 3D printings, because my proposition was, why are we not using that? And when I heard about the things that she said, it made me wonder that, yeah, especially the part that you said we even need animal testing to help our own animals and pets. So it's not just for us humans, like I'm gonna need that for my own animal, for my own pets. So that's really ringed a bell in my mind, and it was a good point. But what I had in my mind is that, are we actually going towards to replace it? Because what it seems to me is that we are taking an easy way out and still using them, and not actually putting effort and money into making it happen with 3D printing and stuff. So my comments actually is that I believe, yes, for now it's okay to use animal testing, but we need to put more investments in the 3D printing.
Thank you very much for sharing. We could take a couple more. If someone would like, yes, to enrich the discussion over there.
It's for the opposition team. Like this? Okay. And so I think the question was like, animal testing should be banned or not be banned. But in the last argument, I got a little bit confused, because like, okay, yeah, it should be banned, but we cannot ban it, kind of thing. Like, so I was thinking like maybe we should more consider like ethical concerns rather than like, can we ban it, or are we unable to ban it or not? It's just a comment.
One more person maybe, before we get to the rebuttals.
There's one there.
Somewhere, yeah, up there. Okay, yeah.
I don't know where this relates to, but I guess for the opposition. And I want to remind that even in our psychology department, we're doing animal research, but from a behavioral perspective. And if we talk about banning in general animal testing, there's the ban to all these type of research as well. We don't invade anything. We even take better care of the animals. We create for a moment sometimes a good place for that type of an animal, if it's a good place to be doing research, especially in the lab of Professor Lucia, for example, where they take care of so many rules and everything. If we ban this too. And I don't think this is very logical, because in many ways we live with animals, and for that reason we need to study their behaviors as well to help them better also. It's not just medical testing that is done on animals, I believe. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for those comments. I think we had also someone else who wanted to, yeah, up there. Yeah, we still have some time.
Yes. Okay. Yes, thank you. I just wrote down quickly some of the argumentations that I thought they would be absurd to mention. I heard that making some animals suffer in this testing would be okay in the sake of making some other, to cure some other. I think that doesn't really make so much logic. I also thought that mentioning the animal farming, which is obviously the big elephant in the room, is correct. But I think because there's animal farming, to mention the fact that we shouldn't kill, make suffer, incarcerate other animals, it's like saying because there's one Tourette out there, it's okay to be doing catcalling and to be gaslighting other people. Because something very bad happened, that doesn't make some other type of suffering like the one in animal testing okay. And when it was mentioned that we provide better housing, better life quality to all those animals in animal testing, these are words that have been used in the past in colonialism, when we were doing tests on Aboriginal Australians, on Canadian Aboriginals. And it's funny that it was mentioned that we did the vaccine for tuberculosis because the 𝗕𝗶𝗺 tribe in Canada was used, they were human, but they were used for testing for the tuberculosis you mentioned. And also, lastly, all of the pandemic we've had on our planet are caused by consuming animals. So when you were mentioning COVID, yes, we found the solution of COVID because of animal testing, but the problem was a pandemic that was caused by those that eat and consume meat. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your comments. I think I could dare to say that we have some future speakers in the audience. So you can find us in the end. Maybe we have something that interests you. So do we have anyone else who would like to share? We're well ahead of time, so. Yeah, we've got someone over there. Yeah.
Just a minor thing. Like,
what wonders me about this subject is that the people taking care of the animals usually are the PhD students doing the research. So they have to feed them, they have to kill them eventually. And if I was a PhD student doing research, I wouldn't like to do that. Thank you.
So I just wanted to add on to the commentary that was made by the previous people about the fact that do we actually have the ethical right to decide which of the animals do survive and which don't? Because if we use the logic of because this rabbit is killed, my pet rabbit is going to be surviving and thriving and is going to be healthy. So do we make the decision based on our feelings towards the animals? Because it doesn't really make sense. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who didn't have the chance yet? Yeah, we've got someone over here.
So this would be for the opposition team, as they put forward the argument that actually we share about 99 to 98% of the same genes, for example, with mice or with rats. Doesn't that just present a bit of a paradox? Because if you say that you share the similar DNA, and then it's okay to treat the mice the way it's treated, to kill it, to euthanize it, to use it for experiments, doesn't that just present a bit of a paradox that it's good enough to say that when it comes to testing, but then when we're put forward with the argument, how different is it if this would be done to a human? It sets off a bit of a paradox, so yes.
Thank you. A couple more, and then we're moving on to the rebuttals. Anyone who hasn't had the chance yet? I have to say, it's actually really nice that you're willing to engage, because this is what this is about, and we want this so that we circulate the discussion. So one last call, just in case someone would like to comment something. All right then. Then I think it would be good to move on to the rebuttals. I will explain right away what they are. So you start working on them, and then you let me know who
It's okay, I can use this one, thank you. Who will deliver them? So the rebuttals are basically one last chance for each team to bring forth one of their speakers to sum up their main points and their main positions, and also maybe address some of the points that were made by the other team or by you in the audience. After we're done with the rebuttals, we will get you again on Wool Club. Maybe it's good if you prepare already, because right after the rebuttals we will just start the poll again, and then we would like you to vote one more time. But this time, give us a slide, Aurora, we've got it. We would like you to respond once the rebuttals are over. I'm just presenting it. Which team delivered the most convincing arguments? So this is the question that we're responding to after the rebuttals. So would the teams be ready to start? All right, so we'll start with the proposition team. And for the proposition team, we've got Lana Konovalenko, is that right? Wonderful. They will have two teams. We will minutes. We will notify you at 1:30. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. You go.
I would like to come back to the beginning, to the definition. We were actually not talking about non-invasive animal research, about behavioral animal research, about killing animals for food. We were talking about animal testing used in drug research and medical research to benefit humans. Yes, non-invasive techniques exist for doing that as well, but we still breed animals for labs, a lot of animals. And it's no better than eating times more millions animals. But can we just like say, oh, he's got it worse, I'm excused? No, it's not like if your colleague studies way worse and receives a very bad grade, your grade suddenly is better. No, if you haven't studied, your grade is also very bad. I would like to come back to a very strong point made by the opposition team. The example of thalidomide, which when Nina showed us how the mistake made in animal testing was also corrected in animal testing. And it's a nice historical anecdote, but that's where I think it should stay, in the history and in the past. Keeping in mind again that we have new, better alternatives, we would like once again to point out to the 92% failure rate of animal tested approved drugs in clinical trials, and to bring your attention to the fact that we should focus more on the future, move to new technologies, and allocate our fundings according to what science shows us, and stay clear of the past, and stay clear of killing and suffering of other species that are in no way inferior to ours, just for our own good. Thank you.
And for the opposition, we call one last time Victor Bugaki.
Well, first I would like to address a couple of points mentioned. As in the world, have ethical guidelines in the laboratories, in the animal testing and animal research. Researchers are trying to improve animal welfare, but by working on and improving the animal research programs. But banning right now would be premature, as someone has also stated. Banning animal testing at this moment would jeopardize progress of the human health. Also, I would like to thank the proposition, and everybody expressing very well critical argumentation. And they mentioned that animal research would be inhuman. In reality, it would be inhuman to let animals suffer without understanding their needs. So scientists showcase their humanity by implementing and working towards the laboratory practices, ethical laboratory practices. And we would like to leave you with the question, where is our compassion when it comes to animals we eat? But also, where is our compassion for all the stock animals that we use every day? That would be luxury. While animal research in medicine is a necessity. We also have here a list of all the let's say, cures and vaccines figured out and developed due to animal testing. So if I can show it to you or to the camera to see how much in these years we have improved, but also how much we have to keep improving until we find out the good replacement for animal testing, the adequate replacement for animal testing, and the replacement that will ensure that what we do, what we find out, would protect human health. Thank you.
All right, and that sums it up. So Aurora, give us again the slide. So for anyone who has not yet gotten on Wookla, I remind you the code is 𝗕𝗵𝘀, 𝗕𝗵𝘀𝗁. So we'll give you a few seconds, and we want you to get on the poll page and vote. Vote for which team delivered the most convincing arguments. And then in a few seconds, we're going to pull up the results and try to make comparisons with the initial ones. Connected, but only 100 have voted. So if you're on it, just click one of us.
Half of them are mine from the 22. Okay. All right, just another 20 seconds. How's it going? Can we see before we share? No, it's okay. You're sharing. It's okay. All right.
Show us. All right. Okay. A round of applause. Comment. I think that what we have mostly gained from this debate is not whether in the end there was a shift from the proposition to the opposition, but there was a shift from the unsure to one of the sides, which is very important, which means someone spoke to you one way or the other. So again, one round of applause for fantastic, I would say. I hope everyone enjoyed as much as we did while we were getting it ready for you. And we hope we all learned something. We hope we reminded everyone that, different opinions do not necessarily need to be polarized, that they can be beneficial to one another. So, once again, we'd like to thank everyone for joining and supporting the event. And speaking about everyone involved, let's begin to thank everybody who was actually involved. So would it be okay if I just went through the names? Is everybody here? So everybody just give us your attention for 5 more minutes, and then we will all enjoy an aperitivo outside. So I will just go through the names of the teams, and please, as I mentioned, the teams just stand up and join us on stage to also receive your certificates. So let's start with the 2 general coordinators that worked very hard, monitoring all details until the very end, 𝗕𝗲𝗀 and 𝗕𝗵𝟐𝗁𝗁. Do you want to move over there so that... Thank you very much. And please stay on the side so that you can, I can give you the words so that you can share a couple words after we're done with the certificates. Then, behind each of the 2 teams today, there were strong teams of writers that kept on writing, revising, rehearsing before the final arguments and speeches were brought to us. So we are going to have, for the proposition team, Daphne, Naz, the team of the writers for the proposition team, so over there, you just move along and then I will call your names. 𝗕𝗫 Konusmas, Beatrice Trentin, Giulia Parolini, Sofia Laura De Rico, Theophania Andromeda, Leman Ahmedzadeh, Elisa Lawrence, Sam, Lily Holden, Apollonia Spunar. Once again, the speakers of the proposition, Idil Izge Akyurt, Clara Letizia Paisan, Tanya Levinson, and Lana Konovalenko. Then, the writers team for the opposition. We've got Victoria Mancini, Camilla Bruno, Danai Giulia Bramucci, Kristen McDonald, Costanza Cavalieri, Vera Stashua, Chiara Cana, Valeria Frezza, Federica Sofia Lanza, Ioana Cristiana Tacche, Alexander Sokolov, Jan-Pei Zhao, and Aida Mohammadi. And again, the speakers for the opposition, Nina Recupero, Victor Kukarcic, Julia Paul, and Murlana Ismailzadeh. Next, who else have we got? We have the creative team, of course. The creative team, please join us. They have been taking care of the designing, the visual presentation of the relevant content, leaflets, brochures, you name it. Sofia Leschenko, Asiljan Askar, Ajar Jakupova, and Arina Kroitor. Then, of course, we have our social media team, working days and days to make sure the event is promoted. Everyone has the attention on it. So we've got Romina Salehzadeh, Inyin May, Maria, and Pramudya Wardhani Mahira. We also have the logistics team, which work hard behind the curtains as well for every simple detail one could imagine, for practical matters to being on call for the last minute changes. Emma Constantin, Ilgi Kulhala, Camille Jacket, Milica Patic, Mohammed Sina Yazdani, and Parsa Alisha. And of course, there's a multimedia team, Mr. Salvatore Frisina. Big round of applause. As the director of the multimedia team, you know, none of this would have been possible to be recorded, to be organized. They rehearsed and they trained for days and weeks. So, under Mr. Salvatore Frisina's team are Yasmina Satar, Radina Zekanovic, Jana Popovska, 𝗕𝗫𝗿𝗀𝗃, Martina Garone, Ramina Zhotavayeva, and Rosa Dimitrovska. Also, our dear Aurora, who has been working on everything, she's right over there sharing certificates. Thank you all for And our two general coordinators, Zehra Aaron and 𝗕𝗫𝗿𝗃, would like to share a few words for all that. Would you like to use that one?
Sure.
Yeah.
And okay, sorry, just 1 second. And our great moderator, Jenny.
Is it working? This one?
Yeah,
Test? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. So first of all, thank you all so much for being here. We would like to remind everyone that this was a student-based organization, from the scripts, speakers, designs to even the filmmaking.
If you're watching the live stream right now, there's a camera operator student behind every camera that's recording it, and there's a student at the mixer that spent hours and hours learning how to use it, and many more involved. We've spent so many hours back and forth organizing this the past couple of months, and seeing the outcome like this, it's so beautiful, it brings tears to my eyes.
We would like to thank Professor Regolin for giving us the chance to prepare such a beautiful organization with her. I really believe that it's been such an enriching experience for all of us, as well as all of our guest professors that made this possible.
And we'd like to thank our amazing moderator, Jenny, and Aurora for all that they've done for this debate. And finally, you, our audience, for being here with us today for this. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Wow, I don't know what else to say. Once again, I think I speak on behalf of everyone who's involved when I say that we thank you all. Our extended thanks to everyone who connected also online to see us. Anyone who took up some time to just pay some attention on the work that we've done. And we hope to see you in the next debate. And we hope that you can, just stay outside, just enjoy some of the aperitivo with us, and maybe just take this discussion a little bit further, and remind to everyone that we can debate on anything, and we can still enjoy the drink together, even if we disagree. For the rights. These rooms will be locked very soon, so make sure you grab all your personal belongings with you when you go.